Here we are, you guys, the 2019 Ford F-150 Raptor. Now, this is a 2019, so it has a twin-turbo V6 under this hood, but do not mistake this for being a bad truck at all. You know Ford has sometimes put V8s and then gone back to the twin-turbo V6s. Either way, this thing sounds and performs amazing. I'm very excited to go for a drive in this thing. Design-wise, let's go ahead and check it out. So right on this hood, you're gonna have a huge heat extractor, 5 flaps to remove some of the heat from that engine. The front end of this thing looks really, really menacing as well. You get some very big headlights. These things have a lot of presence to them. Sort of a 2-level headlight design. Blacked out Ford on the grille. This is basically Batman's truck if he were to have a truck. This thing looks extremely mean. A lot of body protection under there as well. If you're gonna ram into anything, whatever you hit is gonna get 10 times more messed up than you are. This is just such a cool looking truck. And by the way, because it's a 2019, you can find used examples starting at around $45,000, which seems like an absolute steal to me. Big tires here with one of the best suspension setups in the entire truck market. I mean, this is one of those ones where you can just literally hit jumps and you don't have to get out to check the truck. You know it's going to be fine. Of course, this is going to be 4 doors. We'll hop in the back seats in a second. Pretty standard size bed back here, and in the back you're gonna have another blacked out Ford logo, F-150 and Raptor, with huge dual tip exhausts. All right, let's go and check out the back seats in here. Also, you get Raptor right here, and that's a lot of room to step on there. And of course, a ton of space back here. This is, this could be your home. Like, it is that roomy. I'm not even close to touching the front seats. You're gonna have 2 cup holders back here, air vents, heated seats, and also on the practicality side here, you can lift these seats up very easily and do whatever you want with this extra space here. So work truck, comfort truck, or literally just your home, you choose. Absolutely awesome. As well as these door handles are very cool too. I like this design. All right, let's hop in the front. You get Ford Performance right on the door sill here. That looks very good. Raptor appears on the infotainment system, and oh man, let's start this thing up. Very nice backup camera in here as well. You get a top-down view. I love all cars or trucks that give you a top-down view there. And of course you get your rear view camera as well. And a little bit of an issue with the tire pressure sensor. We're just gonna hit okay. It's not actually at 0 like it says it is. All right, here we are in the F-150 Raptor, and first things first, this thing feels just as big, if not bigger, than the Ram TRX. This is an absolute tank. Weighs a bit over 5,000 pounds, and you definitely feel the weight when you're moving this thing around or just turning the steering wheel a little bit. But interior here is actually pretty decent. When you consider after this car's been depreciated and you can pick one up for $45,000, I mean, you get plenty of stuff in here. Of course, you're gonna have your heated and cooled seats down here, and let's just tap those cooled seats on because that always feels nice. It is summertime now. Steering wheel is pretty standard size. I like it a lot. Ford right in the center here, and you get some big paddle shifters in the back. I like that a lot too. The bigger the paddle shifter, for some reason I like it more. You get, of course, your mode selectors right down here, an adjustable steering wheel, all of your necessary settings. Good to go, sir. And a little Raptor right down here on the bottom of your steering wheel. So much room in the front here too. I mean, the seat is kind of far up, and you saw how much room we had in the back. This is just, it's luxurious and sporty and off-roady all at the same time. Is off-roady a word? I hope so. Of course, you get your drivetrain setup here. So we're in 2 high, of course. It's going to send the power to the rear wheels only, and you can configure it to all-wheel drive if you'd like to. Also, right here, you see something called trailer backup. This thing, when turned on, will actually track the position of your trailer. That way, when you're trying to hook it up, it's much easier for you to do so. So this is a very practical truck. I like it a lot. Infotainment system, nothing too crazy or special in here. You do get valet mode if you go over to the right. And oh, let's go ahead here. We're going. And let's take a listen to how this thing sounds. Ready? We will do a more proper pull when we get the chance. But yeah, this is a very mean sounding twin turbo V6. You know, I'm more of a more cylinders the better type of person, but I don't think there is anything wrong with this right here. And man, driving this in narrow lanes is just a tad bit sketchy. I guarantee you every single car or even truck that we pass, we're gonna be riding higher than them. You definitely feel like a king when you sit inside of this thing. Redline in here is gonna be just over 6,000 RPM, and we will absolutely hit that and see what it sounds like and how it moves. And speedometer goes up to 140 miles an hour, although this thing is electronically limited to below that because it's a 5,000 pound plus truck. You really don't want to be hitting super high top speeds in this thing. Also get your turbo pressure meter. A lot of gauges in this infotainment system. I like that too. And aside from, you know, doing 20-foot jumps in this thing or 0 to 60 tests, it's a very comfortable ride. You get your grab handles as well. Of course, your passenger is going to be using those when they're sitting in this thing. You get Raptor right below your headrest. Very, very nice leather seats. Huge center console in here as well. Very manly, big gear shifter too. I love that in trucks, and the Bronco Raptor had that as well. The Jeep 392 we drove had that as well. And of course, you can shift this manually on the gear shifter through this plus and minus if you don't want to use the paddle shifters. But who's going to be doing that? I'm using the paddle shifters all day, every day. Let's go ahead and play around with these modes here. So a lot of different modes. Let's go back to normal here. Okay, so we have deep snow and sand mode. We have Baja mode, rock crawl mode, slippery mode, tow and haul, and sport. So whatever you are going through, whatever you need to do, this truck will make sure it is prepared for that. Lots and lots of settings, and that's gonna obviously configure these little knobs that you have or stuff in the infotainment system through just a simple tap on the steering wheel, which is very, very nice. Now, if you guys have heard, the new Raptors are gonna have the supercharged V8. And okay, I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit more like it, but that's gonna be over double the price. So this is one hell of a bargain, in my opinion, if you're not somebody that's trying to go all the way and spend over $100,000 on a truck, which unfortunately nowadays does not seem very difficult to do. And as for the build quality in here, I mean, everything feels solid. It feels all right. Couple of cracks if you hit stuff hard, but I have really no complaints there. Just definitely nothing over the top with materials inside of here. Again, it's a 2019, it's an F-150 Raptor, and you can pick one up for $45,000. So I'm not really hopping in this thing expecting to see, you know, wood or carbon fiber. That wouldn't really fit the vibe of the F-150 Raptor anyway. So just a nice blacked out interior to match the extremely menacing black exterior. This is a nice setup here. All right, we got the interstate up here, and we're gonna go ahead and do a hard pull. We got this thing in sport mode. All right, hard pull in the F-150 Raptor. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. So obviously not fast at all. It sounds really, really good, but this would be sufficient power for taking this thing off-roading, but yeah, of course, if you're trying to fly by other people, I mean, this thing is faster than a lot of other cars or trucks, all that I've driven, but yeah, it's certainly not gonna be one that you go from 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. It's just over 5 seconds. Drop a couple of gears, and let's go. How about those brakes? Yeah, I barely even got to get on them, and they work extremely well. You know, that's not such a bad thing. Like, comfort in this thing is almost maxed out. Braking power is really, really good. The sound is really, really good. It's just lacking a bit on the acceleration. Which, if you're buying a truck, I mean, you probably aren't trying to do super, super fast acceleration times. You want exactly what this thing has. The off-roading capability, a really, really good suspension setup, extremely comfortable for road conditions, more practical than you could ask for. I mean, even your passenger basically has their own room. That's how I would describe how much room is over there. It is everything you need inside of a truck. I guess, you know, for 2019, you could argue this is maybe a tad bit outdated. The 2022 Ram TRX that we were in had an infotainment system that was 3 times the size, more modern gauge cluster, more modern interior, but that's 3 years ahead of this one. So, you know, I'm not really gonna talk down on this one too much. I would say that this is a problem if it was like 60, 70, 80. But medium mileage ones, you'll find those at 50. So this is a pretty fair deal for 50,000. We're not even, of course, touching the capability of what this thing can actually do. It's meant to go over some insane terrain at fast speeds too, and actually handle it. Okay, so this one has 48,000 miles on it, and the throttle response, it's just a little bit weird to me. So this does have the 10-speed automatic transmission, which the one in Mustangs are really, really good. This one just feels a bit more odd to me. Like it's, I don't know, the way they tuned it doesn't seem that good to me. It's a little bit delayed. It doesn't exactly do what I want when I want it. So yes, because of the speed in this thing being a bit slow for a Raptor, having the TRX and the supercharged V8 competitors, I mean, I can see why this thing's going for 45, 50, 55, depending on the mileage that you want. But if we're not entirely focused on the transmission and the acceleration, which yes, those are 2 important things, just not as important in the world of trucks, it's still a good deal with this exterior, with the suspension setup, the interior practicality, heated and cooled seats. If you really are going to use the bed and tow stuff and go off-roading, I mean, you're going to get the value. The Jeep 392 that we reviewed was, I've seen some dealerships ask $100,000 for that, and that was a lot faster than this. It sounded better too, but I don't know if you can beat the F-150 Raptor setup in terms of off-roading capability. So just depends on where your priorities lie. Let's do a little acceleration here. Yeah, you know, it moves. It's not gonna scare you, which is okay. Also, take a listen to the road noise as we drive. All you're really gonna hear is that exhaust growl, which is kind of what you want in this thing. Yeah, very, there's really no rattles at all, so this thing's built up very nicely. This truck has been used as a rental for the past 48,000 miles, so this is held up extremely, extremely well. Built Ford tough. I guess I can agree with that. Just my experience with my Mustang EcoBoost has not been Ford tough, but Ford is more of a truck car brand. So yeah, this is where the money's gonna be at. I am definitely liking this. Ram TRX, yeah, it's not really fair because this thing's a 2019, that's a 2022 that we reviewed. I'm going all the way with the Ram TRX, 100%. It's not even like close. But still, I mean, you get pretty much the same level of practicality. From what I've seen with Raptors, these things are going to be better at off-roading and more built for that. But the Ram TRX with the supercharged V8, the whine, the acceleration, the response of the transmission, that's kind of blowing this out of the water for me. And now that we're at a stop, we can click camera and just get straight up easy access to see our front camera and our top-down view. Not the highest of quality though. I am kind of surprised by this. It's 2019. You would expect a little bit more. I mean, this is only 5 years old, so I was expecting this to be a bit more modern than it actually is. But for a work truck, a construction truck, I mean, yeah, this is pretty much all you need. Absolutely massive storage space in here as well. And again, you can fold those back seats up, you can use the bed, you can use all this space over here. This is a truck I would get chauffeured in and I would love it. I did do a drive from North Carolina to Maryland. I rode in the back of a Ford F-150. That was probably the most comfortable ride I've ever had in my entire life. These trucks are just cruisers. I like that a lot. Maybe on a long drive, the exhaust note could get a little bit annoying. Let's go over to normal mode again. So that's not going to change the exhaust note at all, but it will shift up sooner. So it just keeps the RPMs lower, which in turn results in basically a quieter exhaust note. Just no active valves. That was a big bump. And if that was in my car, I would have gotten out to check it. But in this thing, you ain't got to worry. And this is what I mean right here. Tight squeeze. We're close to the curb. We're close to the car. Probably not ideal for city driving at all. All right, we got a lot of rough road here. I love how it handles that. It's just, it doesn't even try. It just wafts over all those bumps and feels absolutely amazing while doing so. That guy's like, what the hell is on my head? Don't mind me. Make sure you please subscribe. Thank you. You're gonna have a plug in here as well, which is, I wish all cars had that. Whenever I'm on a long drive, I mean, if I'm in the passenger seat, sometimes it's kind of nice to be able to plug in a laptop and use that. So this is really what you'd expect from a work truck like this. Yeah, you'd call this a work truck. It's an everything truck. It's a daily truck, it's an off-road truck, it's a work truck, it's a sports truck. Very fine line on that piece though, because it's just not that fast, but it has a sport mode. It has a twin turbo V6, 460 horsepower. So you got to consider it in that realm. And this does also have auto start stop. So as we come to a stop, the engine turns off and it's complete silence. If we take our foot off the brake, take a listen. It starts back up and gets going. And this has one of the smoothest auto start stops that I've ever experienced. You barely even actually notice that it turns the engine off or back on. Some cars, it'll give you like a big jolt and that's very, very uncomfortable. But this one, that is very smooth. The only thing that tells you that just turned on or off is that exhaust note. All in all, guys, I mean, for $45,000, I think this is definitely a buy. It's just, I don't know if I would trust an F-150 Raptor with 90,000 miles on it. So really we're looking at more like 50, 55 for a reasonable mileage one. Exterior looks great. The suspension is really in the setup for off-roading is where all this money's been put into. Exhaust note is fantastic. Practicality is wonderful. Interior sort of design, it's just but again, it's designed for practicality. So all in all, yeah, I'd give this like a 7.5 out of 10 for $50,000. It's a very unique truck though, and it's been cool reviewing trucks because they're just so big, so different, built for different reasons. And I'm starting to like these a lot. So let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you'd buy the 2019 Ford F-150 Raptor. And if you want me to review another one of these, more of a newer model, let me know. I'll try to get my hands on one. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!